Good afternoon. How are we doing? This is taking me so long to get this all figured out, but we're finally up and running. Yeah, I wanted to do this as a live Twitch stream, but my internet's not very good. I gave it a test run and it was incredibly slow. It was lagging quite badly, so I decided just record it and pop it up on YouTube. But I would love to do some live Twitch streams eventually. It looks like a cool, fun environment for music producers at the moment, so that's definitely to come if I can get it working. But if you're watching this, thank you, and I hope you can take something away from it. So I'm just going to walk you through how I made my single Kaleidoscope featuring Scarlet Faye. I guess this is aimed at beginners more so than anyone else, so I wanted to go fairly in depth with some of the methods I used. And yeah, if you have any questions or if there's anything I don't quite dig into as much as you'd like, just drop a comment and I'll reply with some extra information. Or maybe I'll do a follow-up video, maybe. But yeah, I mean, let's go straight in. So, we'll take a little listen first. So this project that you can see here is the Kaleidoscope project, but it's unmixed, so it doesn't quite sound like the finished mastered song. But let's have a little listen first. Cool, so apologies in advance as well. I suffer from hay fever quite bad, so if I'm sniffing and coughing and stuff, just you might have to bear with. So let's start where the song started. So this synth, also apologies if I leave this up on the screen too often. It's a bit gnarly. It looks kind of cool though. So I can't get my words out. So I started here on this synth. I did this synth with Moog Matriarch. This is how it sounded when I first done it. So very harsh, very harsh. So that was I loved the sound of it, but it was a bit too aggressive. So I added some EQ cut. I just took a load of the top end off. Did I? I must have done. Yeah, I did that. Oh yeah, no. Okay, so I took the top end off with the FF Micro, like that. And then I automated extra. If you look here, I automated some extra, like, filtering with the Logic single EQ. How did I make that synth sound in the first place? Well, let me get up. Email. So unfortunately I don't have this synth anymore, but if we take a look here, it's a beautiful synth, and if you can if you can get hold of one, I'd highly recommend it. So here, you see this blue patch here? Those are the oscillators. I don't really understand it myself, but this synth is a paraphonic synth, I believe, which means, or partly means, that it's a 4-voice synth, so you can only play 4 notes at a time, and each note has its own oscillator and its own. All 4 notes are affected by the same filter, I believe. So, which is a really quick way of saying that there are some limitations to it, but those limitations can sort of breed creativity and interesting things. Anyway, I mean, I'm not a synth expert, so I don't want to go too deep into it. But yeah, so on this blue panel, you can see there are like 4 black knobs just under those little. There's like 16 little holes at the top of it, and then below that is the 4 black knobs, right? So those are the you can choose which octave your note is in, basically. So I tuned each oscillator to a different octave. And the first, when you hit a chord on the keyboard, whichever finger hits its note first takes the first oscillator. Whichever finger hits it second takes the second oscillator, and so on and so forth. So if all of your oscillators are tuned to a different octave, then each time you hit, naturally the fingers are going to hit in a different order each time. And that's what created that sound where each note sounds different, even though I'm playing the same chord. I'm playing a C sharp major 7 flat 5, and then just a C minor 7 chord. And I'm literally just alternating between those 2 chords, but it sounds different each time I press it, because it is technically, because it's a different voicing of that chord, because of the way it's tuned. I hope that makes sense. I'm maybe not explaining that very well, but that was just a kind of random thing I did on a day while I was having fun playing around. I really liked that sound, but I didn't know what to do with it, so I closed the project. I left it for a while, a few weeks. Opened it up again, started listening, and I thought, I just sort of knew exactly what to do with it, or at least the path that I wanted to start going down. So that day that I opened it up, I pretty much added the drums. I know I started with hi-hat, I believe, so let's open the drums up. Sorry. So how did I make this? So, this is my hi-hat here. I got a hi-hat sample off of Splice. So let's take this, just drag it over here quick. Just extend it fully to see what we had originally. So that was the original sample that was on Splice. So with this, what I did was, I took all of those. See, these are like, that's a rim shot, that's probably a rim shot. I really like the sound of the hi-hat in between all of the other stuff. So I cut all of the other stuff out. This is not exactly what I did, but this is, roughly what I might have done. Making music's a blur, man. It's such a blur. I just don't remember. So in the moment when I'm making it, man. I missed one. So I effectively did that, right? And if you listen, to be honest, even in the final song, the hi-hat pattern's a bit janky. Like, let's just listen on its own. Like, in and of itself, not the best sounding like pattern. It's just not. No one would listen to that and say, yeah, that's done. That's done. But I really liked it, and when I put the kick and the snare with it and all the other things, I just kind of liked how slightly off kilter it was. It didn't, I didn't want it to be perfect. I kind of because the synth was so steady and repetitive, I kind of liked how janky the drums were in contrast, I guess. So yeah, I probably spent a few hours making that beat. Where's the synth? Let me just play it along with the synth. Where are you? There you are. So like, because you've got that constant on the beat thing with the synth, the drums have a lot of room to just be really syncopated around that. You know? Then with the hi-hat I added some flange and some... Oh yeah, these plugins don't load, it's really annoying. But hopefully you can hear that there's like spring reverb on the hi-hat. I just really like that effect. Reverb on drums is hard to get right. I either like them really dry or, you know, it has to be done a certain way. I'm surprised that I left that on, because usually that would have been something I try and then take off, but it felt really good in this song. Okay. Oh, don't know if you can hear that. That's my girlfriend Lucy coughing. She's probably choked on some food. Hope you're alright. Oh, she's choked on her Greggs. You alright? Oh my goodness. And we're back. I think. Yes, we are back. I just had to get her a glass of water. Where was I? Okay, so let me just dig into this beat a little bit. So we have kick, hi-hat, snare. So I really like the way the beat was kind of very push and pull. To be fair, that's actually a bit more. That's a slightly more built-up section. So let's listen here. I like the way the kick and the snare just stop there. You know, it's kind of just a bit of a counterintuitive beat. I've always been very inspired by Tyler the Creator's drum production, Kaleidoscope's drum production, especially like earlier Kaleidoscope when it was. His music's always been very energetic, but some of his earlier stuff is a bit more. He's using some weirder drum patterns, drum grooves, that are just counterintuitive that a drummer couldn't ever actually play. And there was someone else I was going to say as well. But those two definitely specifically like a big influences on how I've placed kicks and snares. Just because they both do it so weirdly and in their own unique ways. So yeah, that's kind of what I generally try and go for when I'm making beats. It's just something that you couldn't actually necessarily play it on a drum kit. I have no... My drummer James always used to say, I always used to say to him that I have no... I can't speak today. No, fuck it. I'm hungover. What else is there in here? Okay, so a bit of non-rhythmic stuff. These just give a lot of texture as well. So let me show you quick. I've got a bunch of these patch cables. that I bought. I bought them for one reason, and I never used them for that reason. But I held them all like this. There's like, I have about 7 or 8 of them. But whenever I want a song to sound really deep and cool, just hold these up to the mic like that. Move them about a bit. And then I'll pitch that down, maybe put a bit of reverb on it, might even reverse it or something, but just adds a beautiful texture. So you can hear that in the intro. It's not that loud, obviously, but so little things like that always give a bit of character. Okay, where are we? We've got drums, patch cables, we've got main synth, clave as well. I added a bit of clave to this. Such a simple instrument, but I just love the sound of it. It adds a lot to a song, and it's super easy to cut up and move around as well, which you can tell I've had to. But yeah, get yourself some claves if you haven't already. Big up claves. Shout out to all my pairs. What else have we got? Sorry, I'm just trying to think what's the next logical thing to show you. Like I said previously, with writing sometimes you get lost in it a lot of the time, and it's hard to remember what you actually did, especially like when a song feels kind of natural, I guess. You just kind of, for me anyway, I just let it happen a lot of the time, and I never really think about what I'm doing at the time. It just kind of, it's almost instinctual, I guess. I've been doing it for quite a while now. But let's go through some of the extra textual stuff then. So this is another sample that I took off Splice. It's like a nice... Now there's a lot more to that, so let's listen to the whole thing. This is it originally. Beautiful. I really like the sound of it, but it was in the wrong key, and I didn't want all of that in there. I just wanted that one note, and the way it comes into that. Then I had to pitch it down. How much? A tone. So that added so much for me in those transitions. And you can see here, so this one I like faded it out over a longer period of time on the first one, and here, because I wanted this bit, when everything dropped out, I wanted it to impact more, so I kind of let it drop out. And also at that point I put a reverse cymbal, and I usually hate reverse cymbals. I'm not a fan of them. I don't know, they just annoy me, and they feel like just like quintessential overproduction tool. But occasionally I do use them in certain things. This song included, and it works for me. So yeah, classic old reverse cymbal. So they're achieving the same goal there. Just one is tuned and one's untuned. You know. What else? Salt shaker. Good old salt shaker. Household items that have stuff in them always make better shakers than shakers themselves. Salt shakers, pepper shakers. Don't know if you've got like a pot of, if you've got like couscous in a cardboard case or something. What? I don't know, stuff like that. Find stuff in your house that makes sound when it shakes, because it usually just sounds better than an actual shaker. That's my advice. Tell me about yourself, I'm undivided. Okay, where are we at? So, no. Let's look at the synths now. So yeah, there's like an old time, kind of old sounding flute sample in there. Not sample, it's a plugin, it's a Mellotron, the Arturia collection. Big up Arturia. I'd highly recommend these plugins. I use them all the time. They're really good with helping to like start songs, and to be honest, I think they sound great in the final recordings as well. These plugins, the Arturia V collection, they're all over the album that's coming out later this year. As you can see, so that just sounded really nice, sounded really floaty. That's creating more atmosphere and warmth. And then this next one, this organ, is kind of more of a rhythmic thing, which I really liked. Just accented the drums really nice. I love creating rhythm from stuff that aren't the drums. I'm trying to think of an example. Although I think really good producers just have what am I trying to say? If you can make rhythm from things that aren't the drums, basically, and if you can make everything sit with each other well, and just have, you know, unique ways to fucking hell, I'm just gonna cut this bit out. What are you talking about? So yeah, that's that. And then let's put the bass in there. So the bass switches up a lot throughout the track, as you can see here. There's a lot of different things going on. The main riff, I guess, is this. I just loved how it walked. I think I was messing around with it, trying to come up with something. And I could have very easily just kind of held the root notes, which I do at some points, you know, because it works in some points. But I just loved this walking thing that never really stops anywhere. And here, if you get that thing there, that was a mistake. Like my finger slipped. But I really liked the way it sounded, so I kept it in. I love reharming stuff with bass. So with this bass line, obviously, as I said before, the chords that I was playing on the synth are C sharp major 7, flat 5. The flat 5 doesn't matter too much. And then C minor 7. But with this bass note, I'm like adding an F. Well, an F most of the time. There's passing notes, but like I'm reharming the C minor 7 a lot with an F, and it just sounds real nice. So yeah, that's as complicated as the bass line gets. And then for the verse, proper broken down, because there's not much, there isn't much going on in terms of like chord progressions. For the most part, other than the bridge, where you go, Kaleidoscope, that bit, there's only really those two chords for the most bit, and so creating variation with dynamics and with bass reharmonization and just I just wanted to keep the song as interesting as possible the whole way through. So if you don't have that in the chord bit, then you got to create it somewhere else. So making each section different again. So there's that filter on the synth that I mentioned before, coming in and out. There's the patch cables. Back into that bit again. Okay. So yeah, just starting to reintroduce all the elements again that have been introduced in the intro, but just making them hit a little bit harder that second time. So let's talk about this bit now. So by that point, I was like, right, we need a different section here. I'm tired of hearing that synth line, so let's drop it out altogether. So I came up with some chords. Piano. This piano is Spitfire Audio, originals felt piano. Cost me like £29. Super worth it, basically. Beautiful plug-in. I put it on everything. So yeah, highly recommend if you don't already have. So weird listening to it back, like with broken down and. So yeah, these really kind of, that organ you can hear what it's doing rhythmically there a bit more. It kind of stands out in this section a bit. I also wanted to drop bass out at this point, so I dropped the bass out. It's kind of like it feels a bit lighter. And then it's just a nice surprise when it comes back. Piano's gone, back in with a synth. There's those little things you don't even realise they're happening, like subtle things like that, where you take the piano out, you bring the synth back in, because the vocal melody's the same, so you don't necessarily notice the change, but something feels good and feels different about it. Man, I love production, man. Production's so sick. Oh yeah, so in that bit there, I also had guitars in this bit. I wanted this bit to feel proper, like everything snaps into a rhythm. I wanted it to feel really groovy compared to the other section before it. Because it's like, not to be cheesy, but like in that section I'm making like a declaration of love and all this, and I want to be better, and you're like taking stock and taking charge of yourself, I guess. It's kind of the message. So I wanted everything to kind of snap and it be like, yeah, like the feeling of getting your shit together, I guess. Not that I actually have, but It's a song, innit? Guitar noodles, nice guitars. Okay, let's look at this section. I'll go into the vocal production as well, but I just want to look at everything else first. So what do we have? I added a bunch of acoustic guitars in here. Big up Sergio Selva for lending me his acoustic guitar for this. I think the maker's a Recording King guitar. Very, very nice. This was just a moment I wanted it to sound so full. I had so much fun. I wanted this bit specifically to be the climax of the song. So I just had a ton of fun layering a bunch of stuff on. Added some rides there that you can hear. Just subtle, like. Added a bit of high end. Got these reverse guitars in here, just adding that atmosphere. If you don't know what to do, just try reversing something. Just reverse it, it'll work. I layered the bass as well. So this is one of those sections I mentioned with the bass that just playing the root notes worked really well. So this is the section I did that because you got so much going on at this point that the bass just needs to be steady and like hold down the low end while everything else is moving. Whereas earlier in the song, there isn't as much in there. So where's the bass? Give me the bass. Yeah, boy. Bring it all back in. Added these strings as well. Love these strings, man. I think these are Arturia as well. Yeah, Arturia emulata. Stop. So yeah, those that last little bit of atmosphere there. Decorations. What's in decorations? This is the jankiest tutorial ever. Apologies. Oh yeah. So these, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. So these are my trusty Casio keyboard. Big up Snooper's Paradise in Brighton. It's one of my favourite shops. Even though this is, I think, the only thing I ever bought from there. But I loved going in there all the time. Anyway, yeah, so these, I think those sounds are banjo setting and violin setting. It sounds terrible in and of itself, but somehow managed to make it work in the context of this song. They're really quiet, man. Don't overlook cheap stuff like that that's made for kids, because it sounds sick. Anything can sound good in the right context, so don't always think you have to buy like the big badass synth or guitar or whatever. Like, buy a 20 quid piece of crap from a charity shop and see what you can do with it. It's more interesting. I don't think there's anything else there to really dig into. Let's look at the vocals. So, as you can hear in that section, I mean, Scarlett's voice is it's just like carries the whole thing at that point. It's so so good. I think Scarlett has more vocals on this song than I actually do, technically. I mean, look, I've got from there to there to there. Scarlett's got all those. Yeah, she's on this track a lot. So let's have a listen, shall we?
What is love?
A lot of layering on this.
What is love? I'm done talking.
So yeah, I wrote this chorus. I think this is the chorus. I think it's the chorus to me. I'm not sure.
What is love?
I had this, and I was like,
what is love?
Something's missing.
What is love? What is love?
I was like, nah, I need something like.
What is love?
Just needed something to fill that space. So
what is love? I'm done talking, can't you tell? Why don't you tell me about yourself? I'm undivided, yeah, undivided. Why don't you tell me about yourself? I'm undivided, yeah.
So satisfying when her harmonies come in on the undivided.
Can't you tell? Why don't you tell me about yourself? I'm undivided, yeah, undivided.
Love that.
How stronger can you be? How long did you wait for me? Though your joy is effortless, I can't ignore your sacrifice.
When you have this many vocals, you have to be selective about where stuff comes in, you know. I wanted that section, that verse there to drop right down for the first half of it, because it needs to be like,
Stronger can you be?
I wanted it to be really intimate, and obviously there's nothing else going on.
How long did you wait for me? Though your joy is effortless, I can't ignore your sacrifice.
And I love about this song is that every chorus is performed differently. Like it literally, like the melody's different. So you got the first one, and then the melody changed here.
What is love?
Not here.
What is love?
Like the words are the same, but just having that bit of variation is just like, I just love how it builds.
What is love? I'm done talking, can't you?
I feel weird talking about how I love my own music, but you get like I don't know, you have like 20, 30, 40 things where you just start them, like a 4-bar, 8-bar loop or something, or you get some tunes that get half written. You know, you get some tunes where you complete them and then you realise it's crap, or it just feels a bit filler. So when you finally come up with that idea that just feels really good, it just makes all of that other stuff worth it. So I don't feel too bad about saying I love it, because I know how much shit I had to wade through to get to the point where it's like, oh yeah, you know, I'm proud of this song. And that's the way it be. That's the way it be.
What is love? I'm done talking, can't you tell? Why don't you tell me about yourself? I'm undivided, yeah, undivided. When you go, Kaleidoscope.
So, as I said earlier, that melody at this point stays the same the whole way through. So that gives you when you have that. What else is staying the same? I think it's really only the melody that stays the same, but because you have that kind of repetitive thing there, that can hook a listener. That gives you a lot of freedom to really throw a ton of lyrics in there, because oh my god, people might not necessarily pick up on all of those, but that melody will stick there because it's kind of catchy and like repetitive, and that gives you a lot of room as well. So like that cross rhythmic stuff that I'm doing on the guitar, cross rhythm, I'm not really sure, but like it kind of feels like it's not quite 4/4. It's, you know, it's like doing something weird. You can just throw those little things in there because you've got that little centerpiece that people can hook onto. Yeah, I'll stop rambling.
When you go, Kaleidoscope, the world is upside down. When it's cold, I hold you close. When the rain comes down, something's wrong. You can talk, I won't make a sound. I hope you stay, 'cause I can change. Got some traits to break. And you're so rare, because you care. Wanna take it there. And it's true, I want you enough to see it through.
Just proper took advantage here, just layers, tons of layers of Scarlett's voice. We done all this in like 3-ish hours, maybe 4 hours or so. Scarlett was so patient, man. Appreciate you.
I'm done talking.
So yeah, again, that's the third iteration of the chorus, and at this point, I changed the lyrics slightly.
I'm done talking about myself. Why don't you tell me what's gone well? I never gave enough, but I'm undivided now.
So when I was first writing the tune, that chorus, the way it's performed there, I'm talking about myself. I was gonna put that as the second chorus, but it just felt too climatic too early. But I wanted the second chorus to be different from the first one because it felt like it needed a natural build. So that's how the second chorus came up, and how this kind of third section all came about. Because I was like, that chorus feels so good and like feels like the big moment of the song. How do I get there? So I kind of had to reverse engineer this whole bit to get to this point, which is interesting, I think, maybe to someone. What's that? Again, just to reiterate, this is not the mixed version of the song. This is the project that I took to Dave, and then we did the last kind of 30% of production and mixing together.
Kaleidoscope, the world is upside down. And when it's cold, I hold you close. When the rain comes down, something's wrong. You can talk, I won't make a sound.
So yeah, I like any section that's repeated in this song sounds different the next time it comes in. So this section sounds markedly different from the first time you hear it. It's not as rhythmic. It's not as driving. It's very relaxed now.
When you go,
It's like here you're really trying to convince someone by saying all these things, and it's like really not aggressive, but like, you know, you're being right, just really forthright with it. It's how it feels. And then here it's like, I wanted it to feel like, you know, the battle's over and you've reconciled, or, you know, everything's how you want it. And now you're like,
when you go, Kaleidoscope, the world is
same point, but from a place of relaxation and like relief, I guess.
When it's cold, I hold you close.
Obviously, I know when all these like little bits of intention that you have when you're writing, people aren't necessarily listening with that, but it's just interesting to go back and think about the headspace I was in when I was writing the song and how it makes me feel.
When the rain comes down, something's wrong. You can talk, I won't make a sound.
And I wanted to add like just a little thing that you hadn't heard previously. So I added this little synth in. Where is it?
I hope you
Just a little texture that hadn't been heard before. It's just a Juno 6. Once again, Arturia synths, highly recommend. It's very, very versatile. Yeah. Oh yeah, so this outro, one last thing I'll say. I can't think of... this outro. I was trying to come up with like a middle 8 section or just a bridge after the... I think I wanted it to be after that section, but I just couldn't make it work. It just took me out of the song completely. So but I think I just had the idea. I sort of tacked it onto the end just to get it out of the way, and I actually kind of liked it there. I'm a big fan of fade outs as well, so I faded it out on that. And there was meant to be more, you know, had I kept that as that section, I would have layered it with more synths and possibly piano and stuff. But I kind of liked how it was just like a bit of, it's just like the guitar just noodling and then a bit of bass, and it all just peters out. Kind of nice. Do I fade it out? I can't even remember. Oh, whatever. So that is more or less it. If you have any questions, anything that you want me to dig into further, or anything that I didn't quite explain right, please, like I said, just comment. Let me know, because I could talk about this stuff forever. It's gives me a lot of joy talking about songwriting and production. So please, by all means, ask away. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'm Stephen Mamadeli. You can listen to Kaleidoscope wherever you listen to music. And I hope this video helps you on your creative journeys. Thanks for watching, and see you later.